Poppy Pig was working hard in her garden. There was a lot of work to be done. The whole garden was covered with fallen leaves. Poppy's niece Grunty was sitting nearby reading a book. "Can you come and help me, please, Grunty?" asked Poppy Pig. "Oh, Poppy," said Grunty, "I'm so tired." "How can you be tired?" asked Poppy. "You haven't done anything all day except read that book. So please, come and help me. You can rake all the leaves into a heap." So Grunty began to rake the leaves, but it was hard work, and she huffed and puffed and soon had to sit down again. "You must finish the job, Grunty," said Poppy. "We must clear all the leaves up today." "There are too many leaves and it's such hard work," said Grunty. Just then, Miffy came walking by. "May I help you?" said Miffy. "I see that you have a lot of work to do." "Oh, yes," said Grunty. "We would be very happy if you could help us." "Oh, yes, please," said Poppy. "Grunty says she's too tired to do any work. Perhaps she'll find that doing the work together is more fun." "I like to rake leaves," said Miffy. "They make such a nice crunchy sound." Grunty and Miffy raked the leaves together. The pile became bigger and bigger. "What's great fun," said Miffy, "is to jump on the pile of leaves and sink right down inside. I will show you." "Oh dear," said Grunty. "Now we have to rake the leaves all up again." "But it's fun," said Miffy. "I'll rake them back into a pile, and this time you can jump into them." "Well, all right," said Grunty. "Is it really fun?" "Try it," said Miffy. Grunty laughed and laughed. "You are right, Miffy," Grunty said. "It is great fun." And soon Miffy and Grunty were taking turns, raking, running, and jumping in the leaves. Then the telephone rang. Poppy went to answer it. When she returned, she said, "That was Miffy's mother. She asked if Miffy could come home and rake the grass." "Oh," said Grunty, "may I go and help her, Poppy?" And Poppy Pig said, "But Grunty, I thought you were too tired." "Yes, I was, but I'm not anymore," said Grunty. So she promised to go and help Mother Bunny because raking leaves really is a lot of fun. On her first day at school, Miffy's teacher said, "Children, today we'll plant seeds in flower pots on the window ledge, and during the year we will watch them grow into lovely flowers." Miffy was very surprised when the teacher handed her a little black seed. "How can a little black seed become a pretty flower?" "It's the magic of nature," said her teacher. "Everything living starts from a tiny seed. In the seed is everything that can help it to become a flower. When we put it in the ground, we must water it so that it grows." Every day Miffy watched her pot. First, a very tiny bit of green showed above the black soil. Then small leaves began to form. Then, in just a few weeks, a tiny bud of colour appeared. And in another couple of days, it opened up into a real flower. Miffy wondered if everything she planted in the ground would grow into something nice. That evening, while Miffy was helping her mother with the dishes, she told her how wonderful it was to see a flower grow from a tiny black seed. "Yes," said Mother Bunny, "tomorrow your father will plant some seeds, and you will see flowers grow again, right here in our own garden." Miffy was so excited that she dropped a cup and it broke into pieces. "Oh dear," said Miffy. "I'm so sorry, Mother. I broke one of our lovely cups." She began to cry, but Mother Bunny said, "Don't cry, Miffy dear. I know it was just an accident." The next day, Miffy thought, if a lovely flower can grow from a little seed, perhaps if I plant a piece of the cup in the ground, a new one will grow. When Miffy's father was planting seeds in their garden, Miffy asked, "If I plant a piece of the broken cup, will a new one grow?" "I don't think so, Miffy," said Father Bunny. "But you can try it." So Miffy watched the little garden every day, just for fun, hoping that maybe a new cup would really grow. Gradually, many beautiful flowers appeared, but no cups. Miffy's father and mother knew that Miffy would be disappointed, so Father Bunny had an idea. When he came home that evening, he had bought a new cup. While Miffy was sleeping, he buried the new cup where Miffy had put the broken piece. In the morning, Father Bunny said, "Miffy, I think something is really coming up where you planted the piece of broken cup." Miffy ran outside as fast as she could go. Sure enough, there was a bright yellow cup handle sticking up out of the ground. Miffy pulled it out and was very surprised. "I know that only living things can grow from the ground," she said. Mother and Father laughed, and Father Bunny said, "Yes, Miffy dear, that is true. I bought that new cup and put it into the ground just as a little joke." And they all laughed. One morning, Father Bunny was reading the paper. "Wouldn't it be nice if Snuffy could stay with us sometime?" Miffy asked her father. "It would be nice," said Father Bunny, "but we must first build a little house for her to stay in." "Boris Bear has lots of wood," said Miffy. "I will go on my scooter and ask him if he can give us enough to make a doghouse." So Miffy took her scooter and set out for the forest where Boris and Barbara Bear lived. When she got there, she told Boris they would like to build a doghouse for Snuffy. Boris said, "What a nice idea! Of course I will give you the wood, and I will also cut the wooden parts for you. So all you have to do is nail them together." "Oh, you are very kind, Boris," said Miffy. "That will make it easy for us." So Boris took some wooden boards and measured them. Then he cut them into just the right size and shape so that they could be put together to make a doghouse. "Oh, thank you, Boris," said Miffy. Miffy rode home on her scooter. She told her father what Boris was doing. Boris is very kind and clever, but he can't carry all those wooden parts to our house. Let's go and pick them up in our car. Father Bunny and Boris carefully put all of the parts of the doghouse into the back seat of the car. Father Bunny thanked Boris, and then he and Miffy set off home. When they arrived, Father Bunny laid all of the parts out in the garden. "Now, let's see," said Father Bunny. "This piece must be part of the roof. And this could be a wall," said Miffy. One piece after another, they began to put the doghouse together. "It looks a little strange," said Father Bunny. "There is no doorway for Snuffy to get inside." "Yes," said Miffy, "and there is a big hole in the roof." "I don't think we have it quite right," said Miffy's father. "Boris didn't give us an instruction sheet." Just then, Boris arrived. "I thought I'd better come and help you," he said. "I wasn't sure if you'd know how to put the doghouse together." Boris was a clever bear. He quickly took all the pieces apart and put them together in a different way. And look, there was a cosy doghouse for Snuffy. They all laughed at how easy that was. Along came Snuffy. "It's a little house just for you, Snuffy," said Miffy. Snuffy loved her new doghouse and enjoyed her stay at Miffy's. One day, Miffy's mother took a large tray of fresh biscuits out of the oven. "Oh, they smell delicious," said Miffy. "And there are so many, Mother. Maybe I can take some to Boris and Barbara Bear. They love biscuits too." "That's a nice thought, Miffy," said her mother. "I will put some in a paper bag and you can take it to Boris and Barbara on your scooter." Miffy put the bag of biscuits into her scooter basket and headed out to the woods where Boris and Barbara lived. Just then she heard the sound of barking. Snuffy was running after her. "Good morning, Snuffy," said Miffy. "Would you like to come along with me to visit Boris and Barbara Bear?" They travelled along together into the woods. But the ground in the woods was very bumpy. This didn't bother Snuffy, who ran around happily. She ran ahead much faster than Miffy. Miffy had to ride very carefully. When she went over a very large bump, she didn't notice that the bag of biscuits had fallen out. When Miffy arrived at Boris and Barbara's house, Snuffy was already there. Miffy wanted to give Barbara her present, but she realised that it had gone. "I wanted to bring you some of Mother's freshly baked biscuits," she said to Barbara, "but I've lost them somewhere in the forest." "Never mind," said Barbara. "I baked some biscuits too, so we can still have a nice little feast." And so they did. When it was time for Miffy to go home, she looked around for Snuffy, but she couldn't see her. "I can't go home without Snuffy," said Miffy. "She might be lost." "Don't worry about Snuffy," said Boris. "All dogs know their way home." So Miffy started home on her scooter, but she wondered, where could Snuffy be? Snuffy, Snuffy, she called, where are you? She went on a bit further and called out again, Snuffy, Snuffy, where are you? Now Miffy was beginning to get a bit worried. Snuffy? 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 Suddenly, Miffy saw the bag that her mother had filled with biscuits. Oh, she said, at least I've found the biscuits. But when she picked up the bag, it was empty. There were no biscuits inside. Then she heard a little sound from behind a tree and went to see what it was. And there was Snuffy, sound asleep, with just a few biscuit crumbs next to her on the ground. So there you are, Snuffy, said Miffy. I see that you had a nice feast on your way home. On a bright and sunny day, Miffy's teacher told the class, tomorrow we are going to learn about the seasons of the year. Spring, summer, autumn and winter. Miffy and Melanie rode home from school on their scooters. They enjoyed the fine sunny weather. But suddenly dark clouds appeared and it started raining. They had no umbrellas with them, so they hid under a tree. The rain only lasted a short time, and soon they were on their way again. But then it began to get very windy. It was difficult to ride their scooters in such a strong wind. Miffy said, "Our clothes are not warm enough for this cold wind, Melanie. We must try to get home soon." And just as they got to Miffy's house, it began to rain again. It was so cold that the rain changed to snow. Both girls were glad to be inside, where it was nice and warm. They wondered how there could be so many changes in the weather so quickly. The next day at school, her teacher told the class, each year is divided into 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn and winter. This is a picture of spring, she said. What happens in the spring? Aggie raised her hand. I think that spring is when the flowers grow, she said. Winnie said, yes, that's because the sun is getting warmer. Everything grows in the spring. That's right, said the teacher. What about summer? Now Melanie raised her hand and said, I love the summer because it is nice and hot and I can go swimming. Melanie loved to play on the beach. Yes, said the teacher. The summer is the warmest season of the year. But after the summer comes autumn. What do you think happens then? Miffy said, in the autumn, the wind blows, it gets colder, and all the leaves fall off the trees. And then everyone knows that the winter is coming. Very good, said the teacher. and what happens in the winter. Miffy said, "Well, I have to wear my warm clothes because the winter is very cold and usually there is a lot of snow." "You are smart little bunnies," said the teacher. After school, Miffy said to Melanie, "I wonder what season it is now." Melanie started to laugh. "I think that we're having all the seasons right now. Yesterday it was sunny, then it rained, and then it snowed." "Yes," said Miffy. "We had a whole year's seasons in just one day." And they both laughed.